While many people are aware of what spiritual or energetic cleansing is, few truly understand the process and the ramifications of such practices when done incorrectly. The cleansing process can technically be performed by anyone. However, the outcome will be determined by that person's knowledge, intentions, energy, and state of mind. Hello and welcome to Lumen Divinum. I am Luna Sinclair, Spiritual Advisor, Lightworker and Paranormal Consultant. This podcast is brand new and I would really love your support in getting things started. Please leave a like or any comments and feedback you have down below. Share with anyone who may enjoy this content. If you'd like to get in touch or book a service with me, visit my website or email me directly. I would love to hear from you and see how I could help. Today we're discussing something that is not readily shared by practitioners and spiritual consultants: the adverse effects of spiritual cleansing practices. While you can find instructions on how to perform a spiritual cleansing anywhere online, as well as the types of tools one could use and the reasons for needing a cleansing, I've personally found that no one really talks about what happens when things go wrong or when they don't work out as expected. And unfortunately, this does happen. Because just like any other process or practice, spiritual cleansing is not foolproof. There is no guaranteed outcome when one is working with energy. The supernatural, the paranormal, and the spiritual realms are unpredictable, and there are many variables that will determine the success of a cleansing. Let's discuss these. Whether you are performing a cleansing by yourself or you opt to hire a professional such as a spiritual consultant, practitioner, or even a priest, it is necessary to know the risks involved, as spiritual cleansings can sometimes make things worse for the family. The reasons behind this will obviously vary, as each situation is unique, but let's discuss the most common reasons. Number 1. The person doing the cleansing needs to be of sound mind, strong faith, and clear intention. Often when one is doing a cleansing themselves, especially for the first time, it's because they have reached a certain breaking point and they have been compromised by the activities and afflictions that they are experiencing. Unfortunately, this can then open further doors that the person is not equipped to close. Number 2, when hiring a professional, you may not be aware of that person's intentions, faith, or background, because even professionals could be compromised mentally, emotionally, or even spiritually. Also, not all professionals are aware of how to correctly conduct or close off a cleansing, and they can end up doing more harm than good. I'll give you an example. I recently had a client who had tenants staying on their property. One of the tenants was Nigerian, and he was suffering from some sort of spiritual attack and afflictions. He ended up calling some local priests to the property shortly after he moved in, and they performed some sort of ritual to help this man. Unfortunately, whatever they did there ended up opening a portal on the property, and it ultimately affected the homeowner and their family to a great degree. After these priests had visited the tenant, the property was broken into several times, and there were many things that went wrong for everyone that lived on the property. The tenant ended up leaving in the middle of the night without a word shortly after that, leaving the homeowners to deal with the mess that he had made for them to sort out. Number 3, when people think of spiritual cleansings, they think of sage, Palo Santo, or incense. These are typical tools that one would use to remove negative energy. However, in many cultures and traditions, much older than those of Western civilization, these tools were originally used to call spirits, such as ancestors and spirit guides, not to dispel them. This is why I keep reiterating just how crucial one's intention is when performing this type of work. If you just light up and wave around a lit bundle of herbs, Any number of adverse reactions and effects can occur. You need to be very clear about what you are doing and why. With that being said, what many people don't understand is that sage and all these other means of smoke cleansing are not in fact what removes the negative energy from a space or a person. The function of these tools is essentially to smoke out the entities and the dark energies that are residing there. But to effectively remove these, you will need other tools and resources such as prayer, personal strength, faith, and connection to a higher power, as well as your crystal clear intentions. Number 4. When priests come to cleanse a space, they generally don't use incense or smoke first. Some might if they're Catholic in origin, but most will come and say prayers and simply bless the space with oils and holy water. While these things can help, there are crucial steps that must be followed before this blessing takes place. If the entities are not removed first, what a blessing is doing is essentially trapping the entities inside with the clients, which is obviously not ideal, and it will most definitely have adverse effects for the family. Number 5. Another risk is that if there are particularly dark entities present, these will start to fight back during a cleansing. If you are inexperienced or unprepared, this can of course be very dangerous. A good example of this, and something I have heard of but only seen once. A few years back, I went to perform a cleansing for a family that was really going through a lot. They had a history of heavy drug and alcohol abuse, and the woman who was the homeowner had suffered much physical abuse by her partners in the past. A little while after I had started the cleansing, I was making my way through the rooms of this very small home, and one of her little girls came to me to point out that there was liquid running down one of the walls. Astonished, I went to investigate, and clear as day, there were thin trails of seemingly clear liquid running down a wall that led to the lounge area. They were certainly not there before. Upon investigating, I naturally looked up at the ceiling to see where this liquid could be coming from, but there were no obvious leaks or water anywhere. The trails of liquid seemingly started in the middle of the wall, with no obvious cause or reason, and made their way down, almost like what you would find in a sauna or bathroom after a hot shower. Keeping in mind that all the doors and windows in the home were open, so it was well ventilated, it was a very clear day, and no other walls in the home had this liquid on them. It was very weird indeed. This sort of occurrence has been documented as a rare phenomenon by the Catholic Church in certain exorcisms, and it is usually a sign or reaction of demonic entities that are present. Number 6. Another risk when performing a cleansing is that people in the home could have adverse reactions once it is initiated. Sometimes the home in question is not where the dark energy is coming from, but rather from an individual that lives there. They are the anchor or the host of such energies and entities. I have had this happen before too, where people start experiencing nausea, crippling headaches, extreme rage, or unexpected emotional reactions once a cleansing starts, with no plausible explanation. When someone is fine 1 minute and freaking out the next during a cleansing, chances are they are reacting to the work and they are the target of an entity attachment. The worst thing one can do in a situation like this is to allow fear to take over or to stop the cleansing abruptly. There are many videos online where people document a cleansing due to paranormal activity, and they get so spooked by what happens, they don't finish or they run for the hills. This is the worst thing one can do, because when starting this process, you must finish it. Otherwise, a door is left open and will allow these entities an even stronger footing in the home or the person that they are trying to attach themselves to. Number 7. Another factor to consider is that spiritual cleansing is ultimately not a once-off practice. Many people ask me, so having this done now means it's done, right? I never have to worry about it again. Unfortunately, not. Just as you clean your home regularly to avoid dust or dirt buildup, so should your spiritual cleansing practices also be a regular routine or duty. Your spiritual hygiene should be a priority, just as your personal hygiene should be. Not to say you should cleanse your space daily, but once a week or month is definitely beneficial, especially if you are interacting with a lot of people every day or you have different people in and out of your home. Spiritual cleansing is also beneficial if there is a fight or trauma in the home. Don't wait for negative energy to build up. Rather cleanse immediately after such events to keep the energy clear and to protect your space. And finally, number 8, the last reason why a spiritual cleansing may have adverse reactions or even make things worse for the client or the family involved is because the energy takes a while to settle. While things could get better, they could also get worse for a while. And in my experience, if the cleansing was performed correctly, this is simply the energy trying to adjust to the work that was done. Things need time to acclimate, be it the home's energy or the people that live there. This is why maintaining a higher frequency after a cleansing is so important. Because if you're noticing things going wrong and you start questioning the work that was done, this naturally negates any sort of good intentions or stability that the cleansing would result in. It also opens doors that the cleansing would have shut, and you will experience activity or afflictions worse than before. If you have a cleansing and you continue to do everything you were before, or to engage in things, thoughts, and behaviors that ultimately open these doors in the first place, they will come back and they will be worse than before. It's up to you as the homeowner or the client to want to do better. It's up to you to be and to implement the necessary positive changes that you would like to see going forward. Your home is, after all, a reflection of your personal energy and vice versa. This is where free will comes in, as no one can force you to change or to choose such things. If you'd like to learn more about how free will plays a part in spiritual and paranormal problems, please go ahead and listen to my previous episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned a lot from today's podcast episode about the possible dangers and adverse effects of spiritual cleansing. And now you can make some informed decisions moving forward on your spiritual path. If you enjoyed this episode, please show my channel some love. If you have any experiences or questions relating to today's topic, I would love to hear from you. Please comment below. If you'd like to book a cleansing with me, visit my website or contact me directly. Otherwise, have a beautiful day and I'll chat to you soon.